Hey, good Monday morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Weather Nerds YouTube channel here with the Weather Report here on your August the 4th, 2025. Hope everybody had a great weekend out there. And I continue to plug away here. I'm doing some nice little updates here for getting ready for the hurricane season, obviously, for my hurricane version of this to kind of get going. And of course, we got things out in the tropics. We had Dexter form here overnight, 11 o'clock advisory last night. And we're getting some active out in the tropics. Got some thunderstorms as well this morning in Texas we're going to talk about. And kind of get you prepared for the week ahead. Now, before we got to get rolling into this, if you're coming into this live broadcast after the fact, if you could do me the honor and pleasure, please consider subscribing to the channel. We're kind of a no-nonsense channel here. I don't like hyping stuff to death. My role here is very simple, to keep you informed. So our motto is to be prepared and not scared. So if you're tired of the hyperactive weather guys out there, and God knows there's plenty of them out there that will sing to the doom and gloom of everything. If you're tired of that, please come on board here and give us a subscribe. All right, let's go ahead and talk about what we got going on out there for today. Obviously, the first thing we're talking about here, we're going to get into this. This is Dexter that formed out here at 11 o'clock. So top wind's at 45 right there. So this is going to be staying offshore, so not an issue there. Got a pretty good cluster of thunderstorms here across Texas. We do have some severe thunderstorm warnings out there for this morning to kind of get into. And still kind of cool here in the east. We're dealing with some residual cool air that's still in place. The southeast still looking well below normal. I'll give you an idea of my neck of the woods here, here in northeast Georgia. We're going to be low 70s maybe today. We'll take that come August, that's for sure, for this time of year. Now, yesterday's highs and lows. Tacopa, that's over there in the Mojave Desert there, not too far from Death Valley. 117 yesterday. And looks like the cold spot was 25 over Peter Sinks, Utah. We kind of shipped out of Colorado back over to Utah. They kind of take turns on that. But those are the extremes we had across the country yesterday. All right, so let's look at the big picture here. Looking at the weather map here as, again, we kind of got this old stationary boundary kind of sitting in here. And we got these waves of moisture kind of coming into the southeast. So still dealing with some flooding issues here across portions of Alabama and Georgia there. Just a lot, look at that, 50s and 60s all up in here. Boy, it's just very non-summer-like here, definitely across the eastern third of the United States. Now, it's going to be warming up here in the middle of the country. That's looking pretty likely. And you guys in the Southwest, you've had a little bit of a break from your monsoon season. I think it's going to start kicking back up here in the next few days. I think that's coming at us. It's still kind of unsettled here on the West Coast with these little, I don't know, little surges keep bouncing into that high-pressure ridge, kind of keeping a little unsettled and keeping the temperature down just a little bit there in the west as well. So, couple things. Again, we're going to go ahead and focus here on one thing as far as the local radar. We got some pretty good thunderstorms down here across Texas this morning. Let's go check in on that zone right now. So let me get my radar up for that. And pretty good cluster of storms. So nice little MCS here. We've had warnings all up around this thing. It is weakening. It's not nearly as bad as it was up near the Dallas area, but this is charging to the southeast here. So as you kind of see this nice little cluster of storms kind of racing down here to the southeast at about 45, 50 miles per hour. Got that one warning right there. Let's go ahead and highlight that right there. That is for southern Freestone, northeastern Robertson, Leon County, and southeastern Limestone. Goes until 8 o'clock. These storms moving southeast at 40, not 45. It was 45 earlier, but 40, okay? And 60-mile-per-hour winds, penny-sized hail with that. So we're going to see this thing kind of clear on out here soon enough. It might sneak into the Houston area, or at least part of it, kind of between Port Arthur and Galveston, getting into Houston. So something to look forward to a little bit later this morning as that races down to the south and east. Let's go look at the current watches and warnings. We were talking about the southeast. We were going to dealing with the flash flooding here. We got the flash flood watches there across the Florida Panhandle, eastern Alabama, like Georgia, pretty much split in half there. Rainfall amounts 1 to 3 inches. We've had some pretty good rains all weekend long across Georgia. There were some areas that had some flooding over in Alabama. I had a fatality yesterday, unfortunately, here in East Alabama, going into from Saturday night into Sunday. So hopefully, again, we always tell you, don't drown, turn around. Somebody decided to cross a swollen road or river or stuff, and they drowned, unfortunately. So be careful out there when it comes to flooding. It's something you don't want to play a game with. Most of the country, though, not looking too bad out here. A little fog up here, but got red flag warnings out here in the west, a little dry out there in the west, and that's going to continue to linger here for a little bit. All right, we're going to talk about the tropics first. We're going to do the tropics first before we do our thunderstorm outlook. We are going to have some active thunderstorms today across parts of the nation, but we're going to go ahead and first talk about the tropics out here first. Obviously, we've got our Dexter storm. We got our name storm out there, Dexter. We're going to talk about that one here. And we got these two hot spots out here. Now, this one looks like this is going to be a little bit later in the week, potential development there. This is tracking a wave that's going to track up this way and showing a 50% chance for development. What's interesting about this is that one model, the GFS wants to keep it this way. I think European wants to kind of bring it up that way. That's why you kind of see the divergence there, depending on how strong that high pressure ridge is up toward the north. All right, so let's talk about the storm. Let's talk about Dexter. And yes, I did post a little Dexter cartoon on some of my. I should have brought it in this one. I don't know why I didn't think about that, but I did it on my local stuff. But there's the plot. Again, not expecting this to be a big player here. It's moving east-northeast at 12 miles per hour, top winds at 45. So not expect to become a hurricane or anything. It's just going to move on out to sea. So our next named storm is going to be Aaron. That's our next one. And that'll be something we'll watch here in the days ahead to see if we're going to get Aaron to form. So here's your big picture. Again, here is our Dexter up here. Whatever develops here will be, depending on where that old frontal boundary is sitting in there, it'll be the second one to kind of form in that same general area if that happens. Again, that chance is running about 30%. And then we're going to wait and see what goes on. I'm not overly convinced about this out here because I'm still seeing this brownish hue out here. That's a lot of dust. This is dust. So again, that dust has been beating the snot out of every one of these tropical waves that are coming off the African coast here. So and they're putting it 50%. We'll see. I mean, it's possible, but I'm not overly sold on it for right now. Now, if you look at the European ensemble model that's going out for the next 7 days, this is kind of show you the hot zones. Okay, so here we've got the obviously this is Dexter here. So all right, so this is the zone it's watching. That's that wave that comes up this way. And then we've got this one off the southeast coast. So that's kind of lining up with what the European is showing for areas of potential disturbed weather, potential tropical depression development as we go in the next 7 days this week. All right, so we got Dexter it's going out to sea. Not worried about that one. We just got to see where Aaron's going to form and if Aaron's going to be a player in our weather or not. All right, so let's go ahead and check out the thunderstorm and the excessive rainfall threats for today. Let's go switch over to that. And it got general thunderstorm threat here across the southeast, as you can see in there. So that's what we got there. Right now, our hot zone's going to be out here in the west. So we're talking marginal for Oregon, Idaho, Montana, down here in the foothills. So this is kind of our target hot zone for today. We'll go through the categories. So we're talking Rapid City, North Platte, getting in here toward just extreme northeast Colorado, northwestern portions of Kansas as well. Let's break it down by the categories. Let's look at the tornado threat here. We do have a 2% risk here, a couple of little spots here out here on the foothills. Nice place for it to be, kind of open land here. Nebraska, a big part of it here, southern to South Dakota, and parts of Colorado and Kansas. A little bit down here toward the south here, just a little bit there. Obviously, the wind threat's going to be the biggest threat today. That's in that same general zone where that slight risk is sitting there. We're talking winds 60, 70 miles per hour in that area. And the hail threat also kind of in that general same area. So we're talking maybe getting up to a golf ball size hail, I think, maybe a little bit larger possibly. But right there from North Platte and Rapid City in that same zone here for today. All right, what about day two? Let's go check out day two. Let's break this up here, back to the category here. Go to day two. And we'll kind of shift this a little bit further north. Big part of it, look how much of the country has got a general thunderstorm threat for tomorrow. That's for Tuesday. Quite a bit there. And now this will change a little bit. It always does from run to run. It's always funny seeing how the Storm Prediction Center will change this depending on how alt full boundaries, how things kind of set up from the day prior. So again, this is going forward tomorrow. So we're talking Minot, Jamestown, Pierre, kind of Rapid City, kind of in this general zone here for tomorrow. And how about day three? Again, a little big area of general weather, severe weather. Just a marginal risk here, looks like here, kind of stretching from Minnesota and stretching back toward Nebraska and Kansas. Now, this one, I'm going to be honest with you, just looking ahead what I'm seeing in the models, I think this will probably upgrade to a slight risk here going for Wednesday. This is day three going into toward Wednesday, all right? Now, let's go ahead and talk about the excessive rainfall. Obviously, we've been talking about we got a couple of little pockets here, but they were not really bad. I mean, you got your Montana. You got Montana out here to watch. You got up here toward Minnesota, up here toward the southern part of the Ohio River Valley there, Midwest. But it's really the southeast that's kind of the big hot zone. This will be for today as well as for tomorrow. Let me zoom in a little bit closer. So, yeah, we're talking about the city of Atlanta, Columbus, Georgia, down toward Pensacola, Panama City, Albany, Macon, go over toward Dublin, getting near Savannah. So we're looking at again, looking at 15% chance of some slight risk of flooding going on in these zones. And this will carry on into day two. So this goes on into tomorrow as well. So we'll watch how the rains kind of develop here for today as this kind of the moisture stream coming over the top of that old decaying front will keep things active. Now, the good news is as we go into day three, we stay day two tomorrow, it's up here into the high plains too. And then day 3 kind of backs things off a little bit. Just a couple little pockets here across Minnesota, Wisconsin, and then down here toward the Carolinas and the southeast Georgia coast going in toward Wednesday. All right, so that begins to improve a little bit there. All right, let's go ahead and talk about our forecast models. We're going to first take a look at the short range. We're going to look at the NAM 3 kilometer, next 60 hours or so here on this one, although I do abbreviate just a little bit. So let's get that up real quick here. There we go. As we're going to see that rain here across the southeast kind of pull into the Carolinas. You kind of see that going up into there. You see my little hand mark there. Got a little cluster of storms racing south there in Nebraska. It looks like almost similar to what we've seen this morning going in for tomorrow. So look at that going Tuesday. Got a little complex of these storms coming in late Tuesday. And they just kind of charge south out of Nebraska. Boom, here they come, racing on south. Very similar to what we're seeing out there into Texas this morning. Looks like some unsettled weather here across areas of the Northwest as too going into your Tuesday. Watch that timestamp there. Got a pretty little system coming in there across the Pacific Northwest going into your Tuesday night, rain to Wednesday. So a little wet and rainy there, even deep down to the Oregon coast. A little unsettled weather across the high plains as well. That's obviously where that slight risk was kind of, that thunderstorm threat was kind of pushing off toward the east there. So nothing to worry about too bad there. All right, so here's our rain hotspots here for the next 60 hours here. Again, the southeast is going to be concerned. Northeast Georgia lighting up some areas in here up to 3.5 inches, 4 inches here, 5 inches there. So look, it's favoring the northeast sections of Georgia, which has been kind of missed a lot of the heavy rain over the weekend because they had a strong wedge in place. Looks like they're going to get on the wet weather here going in for today. And then obviously there's got some storms here across Texas, Oklahoma. This is that complex of storms kind of racing there toward the end there, going to Tuesday and Wednesday across Nebraska. Some heavy rains there and across portions of North Dakota into Minnesota and back over toward Montana. So that's just taking you out to Wednesday afternoon about 2 o'clock, all right? So let's go ahead and take a look at those temperatures. I tell you, this has been a really nice summer break. I am not complaining. I tell you, as hot as it's been, especially July, to see this kind of come back and be cooler is very nice. Now, what I'm seeing here as far as the middle of the week, you're definitely going to see a lot more purple. You see the purple kind of surging here across the south central United States. Out here in the plains, we're going to warm things up here. The eastern third of the United States, it's going to warm up, but I think it's going to be a little bit slow to do so. It's still hot down there toward Florida. You see the purple that kind of shooting up right through there. But areas of the Carolinas, Georgia, because of the wet weather here, this is going to stay unsettled here. You see the green there, kind of a nice cool out in the west, that's for sure. Looking nice out there. Wish I'd stop saying that. It's become my crutch phrase lately. But I've seen a lot of 60s and stuff out there, low 60s and 50s as well. So let's go check this out, your long-term pattern. Again, this is the European dig. It's going to take us out here over the next 2 weeks. And again, you see that consistent. One thing's been consistent here on the runs here. We've been getting these weaknesses kind of coming in here on the west coast. Bumps into that high-pressure ridge, and it kind of weakens it a little bit. You see it kind of finagling around through there. But we're not getting a big heat dome to come back at us. I'm not seeing that. You see that high-pressure ridge here toward the end here going up toward the middle of the month up to 17th, 18th. That could be some above normal temperatures there. Kind of weakness in the southeast. That should prevent the real heat kind of building in there. And but looks like toward the tail of this run, 15th, 16th, 17th. Yeah, you see that big heat dome kind of forming in there. Kind of weakness across the south. But the tail of this looks like we start seeing the heat build across the high plains as we go toward the 15th and 18th of the month, the way it's tracking currently. All right, let's go check out the next 7 days here. Again, I don't like looking at precipitation beyond 7 days because it's a guesswork at that point. But what we're seeing is the eastern third of the United States is going to remain unsettled. Okay, we're going to continue with that rain, especially here in the south and Carolinas. They'll keep temperatures down a little bit. It's going to heat up here in the middle of the country because of the heat kind of building through here. You got this quick moving storm track here across the northern tier. These little disturbances that'll set off some thunderstorms. Obviously, the severe weather threat there. The northeast, the northwest will stay a little unsettled as well. At least at the beginning part of this run, you see the storm system coming in here right there, as we show on the NAM model, and then it looks like it dries out heading on past that. So the eastern third of the United States unsettled in the next 7 days. It looks like middle of the country, fairly dry except for the high plains there, and it looks like we'll see the heat kind of building through there a little bit. So again, the rain factors, again, we're talking about the portions of the Carolinas, the mid-Atlantic, the southeast. This is where the highest rains are going to kind of linger here. A little rain into the northeast, the Midwest, and where those thunderstorms are kind of tracking on that busy northern tier. We're talking about areas up toward the Dakotas and into Minnesota, South Dakota, North Dakota, Iowa. So, I mean, you look at 2.5 inches here. These are 7 days totals now, 3.5. But look at down here toward the Carolinas. I mean, this is some serious rain in here We're talking potential flooding, I think. Flood watches here, if this holds true, going into the Carolinas, Virginia, showing 4 inches plus, 4 inches plus in South Dakota. So you guys, if you're into the North Carolina, Virginia area, just kind of watch out for that heavy rain starting to slowly propagate back up that way as we go for the next week or so. Looking a little wet there. Dry out in the west. Although, again, I think the monsoon moisture flow, start to see some rain here across the south. I think going into next week, I think we'll see a little more monsoon kind of coming in there toward the Four Corners. You guys have had a little bit of a break there across the southwest. I think that's coming back. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the temperature profile here. Going to take you kind of day by day, kind of want to pay attention to where the heat is. I mean, this is on your Wednesday afternoon or Wednesday evening here. Let me back this up one little bit, about 5 o'clock here. 8 or 2 o'clock. So, I mean, you're still holding on to the 70s and 60s in here because of the rain. I mean, just unreal. Virginia, 68 degrees. This is nice. You got the heat building up here across the south. I mean, it's 95, 94, 95. Getting out here in Colorado, 96. So we're starting to build that, but not bad up here in the plains, 73. We're going to see that change a little bit. All right. Like I said, we'll see a little more pink, but I'm not seeing the big dominant heat dome coming in here. You're seeing the more purple out here in the plains coming in this week. So we're talking about getting in the 90s into Wyoming, for example, Nebraska in the 90s, Missouri getting back in the 90s, Mississippi warming up back in the 90s still. But the east coast, kind of like if you took this line here east, still remaining unsettled with the cloud and the rain cover. Going out toward your Friday afternoon, still seeing a little more purple, so you can start to see that build, although it's cooler in the northeast. Check out these temperatures out here after 54, 43, Idaho. I mean, that's a nice little cold pocket up there across Idaho toward the end of the week. Quite substantial there. And then going into this upcoming weekend, Sunday afternoon, see the heat starting to build back here in the Midwest. So we got a frontal system here coming on in. We're going to warm up temperatures here, excuse me, into areas of Missouri, back here toward Oklahoma, seeing temperatures in the 90s, even the 90s, 91 getting up into Wisconsin too. So we got a nice little warm up here. There's a cold front coming in here. So you got a cold front right through here. That'll come in coming into Sunday. So this will be kind of coming in here, let's cool down here, but still heating up here in the northeast too. Check out portions of Maine as well. You're seeing some 90s up in here. Got a little pocket up there going into this upcoming weekend. So something to watch as we go through the rest of the week. All right, let's go ahead and talk about your climate outlook here. Let's line everything up and close this thing out for you guys. Let's take a look at this as we take a look at our friends from our climate prediction center. There's that little pocket of cold weather. We kind of were showing you that. And it's definitely lining up. This is your 6 to 10 day outlook. So you see where those below normal temperatures were showing up very nicely there on the model. But look how hot it's going to get up here in the northeast. We were hitting at that too on that same window there toward the tail end of that run. So we saw 90s back up in the Maine. So near normal in the southeast because of the cloud and rain kind of lingering there across the southeast. Not a big hurry to get on out of there. And then going out from 8th through the 14th. So this is the 11th through the 17th. Still above normal there across a big part of the country, especially here in the northeast. So folks up here in New England, the Great Lakes, will be dealing with that as well. And hopefully they get that smoky air out of there. They will linger with that all weekend long. How about the temperature? How about the precipitation-wise here today? Looking out for the 9th to the 13th. They're looking at below normal out here in the west. Here across the northeast briefly. Kind of wet here across the high plains and into the Midwest. And wet here as well across the southeast. But definitely a lot of wet weather here across the south. And then going out a little bit further, looks like it's still holding our little dry pocket out here in the west. I still think that monsoon's going to kick in here, though, a little bit later. I don't know. We'll see if it's not really lining up with one. I still think the monsoon's going to start kicking in out there. I was just looking at some of the model comparison there. I think that may trim that back a little bit as we go deeper into the month of August. We'll see how that lines up. So anyway, that is y'all's update here for today. Again, I love the new format out there. Who we got out there online? We got Julie out there right now. Hey, Julie Taylor, got G-Bros on, Woody's on there. Good to see you guys from Noonan. I see him from Georgia. Appreciate you guys checking us out here for today as we're going to continue to watch what goes on with Dexter out there for today. And we'll see if we're going to get Aaron to form. Right now, I don't think Aaron's imminent right now, not based off what I'm seeing. If anything forms, I'll probably lean more to something forming again out here along that than I am out there in the Atlantic. It's just because the environment still looks a little rough out there for a tropical development. Could be wrong. I mean, I'm just kind of giving my opinion. You know, opinions are like, you know what, so when it comes to weather out there, that's for sure. All right, you guys take it easy. If you guys have not subscribed to the channel, please consider do so. We just finished our advertised buy. We did a $100 buy for about a week. We got our number up to 83.20 there, so I won't be able to do another advertised buy until I get some more money back in there, which means I got to get some more eyeballs on the product to raise a little more money. I do it whenever I get $100 in. I will do another $100 buy, and then we'll continue to try to grow the channel a little bit out there. And I'll continue to work on my hurricane version of this. It's called Hurricane Central. Really like the way it's coming about. It's got I've got a single view, which is kind of like this, and then I got a double view, which is going to be up and down, where I've got guest meteorologists who will kind of pair up with me when we're ready to do wall-to-wall coverage. So I'm really excited about that. I got a buddy lined up. We got to do a test run on there to make sure it's going to work okay. All right, that's y'all's update for today. You guys take it easy, be good, stay safe, and we'll see you on tomorrow's edition of the Weather Report.